What's up, everyone, and welcome back to HBCU Game Day. We have a fully loaded SIAC conversation to get into. It's been a minute since I've been on here with Sly. A lot has happened since then. I'm Symone Stanley. He is Sly, the sports guy Williams. Sly, how you doing?
I'm doing good. New year. I feel like new money. You got people going around, good things happening. Hey, man, I feel good.
I like it. You're glowing, and I think it's the marriage glow.
Come on now, come on.
Because
I got women fans out there now. You can't be putting.
Well, you came on with the wriggle, so
I got to. I can't walk out of the house without it all. I got to. Hey, babe, I'm working. I'm working. I ain't out in these streets. I'm working.
Since we've talked, you went to Vegas. You got married in Vegas. Show off the ring a little bit. Let me see.
Show off the ring a little bit right there. I got a little bling. I got my fancy ring on right now.
Oh, you got two rings?
I got two. I got the regular ring where I don't want nobody to hit me over the head. Then I got the fancy ring. I'll pull that one out too.
So you pulled out the fancy ring for today's show.
It's a fancy day.
It is. We have a lot to get into, Sly. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. First of all, Shawn Gibbs.
Ooh. Fort Valley State, Shawn Gibbs.
Currently.
Look like forever.
Shawn Gibbs, current head football coach at Fort Valley State University, and also current, as of tonight, this recording, January 11th, Thursday night, candidate for the FAMU head coaching position. Not up to the alumni. Okay. I'm trying to set the stage, Sly.
My bad. Let me be quiet.
So obviously, Willie Simmons moved on from FAMU. He became the running back coach at Duke University after winning the Celebration Bowl. And it's been a while, and FAMU has not named a new head coach. The AD, Tiffany Sykes, has recommended Shawn Gibbs, current head coach at Fort Valley State University, for the head coaching position. Now, the FAMU alumni believe that somebody from Willie Simmons' coaching tree, specifically somebody currently on the FAMU football staff, should be promoted to the head coaching position. And the alumni had a meeting, the National Alumni Association, the FAMU NAA. They held a meeting and they voted against Shawn Gibbs.
You know, I'm biting my tongue. I'm just biting my tongue so you can get it all out. And see, right now on the screen, you got dibs on Gibbs. Dibs on Gibbs.
I love that. Charlie been getting real clever in 2024.
Real clever.
Right.
Get that man a raise.
Nah.
Get that man a raise, man. I like that. But if you look on paper, at what Coach Gibbs has done on paper, why wouldn't he be a great candidate to coach at FAMU? He should be a great candidate if you look on paper at what he's done. He's an HBCU guy, played HBCU ball, and has coached HBCU programs. He's coached as a position coach. He's coached as a coordinator. He's been an assistant coach, and now he's the head coach. Past 2 years, he's been a winning head coach. Last year, he got a player and had a player go to the NFL. You know, his quarterback last year was one of the best quarterbacks in the SIAC. He had 2 8-win seasons. He won the inaugural, hopefully I said that right, Florida Bowl. He won the inaugural Florida Bowl. So on paper, this guy's a great coach. Now, FAMU, their fan base, their alumni, and I'm going to say the alumni, not the fan base, because the fan base, you got a bunch of people who probably can't spell FAMU but love FAMU. You know what I'm saying? The alumni, these are the intelligent ones. These are the smart ones. These are the ones who graduated from FAMU. Great school, I might add. Great academic school. You know, I have some great friends who graduated from FAMU. Sports knowledge, they got me questioning them a little bit. I'm questioning a little bit right now. They're saying that he isn't a good fit. Why isn't he a good fit? He's a winner. He's a good coach. Oh, he got into a fight a couple of years ago. A fight happened when he was at A&T. A fight happened, and the FAMU narrative is that he started the fight. Symone, I wasn't there. I saw the same video you saw, but everybody knows you only see clips and 30-second pieces or whatever. So I don't know. I don't think the man started the fight. People who were there told me he didn't start the fight. Was he there? Yeah, he was there. But is that the reason he's not a good fit? From the FAMU people that I talk to, I can't speak for every FAMU person out there because I know you're watching. You like, oh, you full of crap, Sly. You don't know what you're talking about. That ain't why. The people I talk to, the main reason they don't want the man to coach there is because of the fight. Now, they will go and say, well, we want to keep consistency. We want to have an assistant coach to keep that same consistent staff so we can have an assistant coach come in and be the head coach. Hey, man, you know, okay, I give you that's good. But if you got a head coach somewhere out there who can coach, why not bring him in? Why not bring Gibbs in? And the fact that the alumni base can force a vote of no confidence for the athletic director, for the athletic director who looked on paper and said, this person is a great hire, I should recommend it. You don't have confidence because she made a decision for a guy on paper. And I will always say on paper. I will say on paper because if you take his name off the top of that resume and you just put that resume out there, there's nothing wrong with that guy as a hire. Maybe one of the best hires out there, not named McNair. I personally believe that McNair should be coaching somewhere. I think he should have been at Texas Southern. He should have been at Grambling. He should have been anywhere. The man should be coaching, and FAMU would be a perfect place for McNair. But if he's not your head candidate, I don't see why Shawn Gibbs is a bad guy to coach at FAM. I don't see why. Why not?
Shawn Gibbs has been winning, like you said, at Fort Valley State University. You've been covering not only Shawn Gibbs, but the SIAC as a whole. What makes Gibbs stand out to you as a coach?
Well, I like his offensive philosophy. He's a former running back. He believes in running the ball. He wants to run the ball, establish the run, but he understands that it's a passing world that we live in. So he can establish the run and be a running team, but have a great quarterback because he's had a great quarterback these past 2 years. His quarterback's been awesome. So that means he can develop. When he got on campus, and I hate it, I'm getting old, the quarterback's name is just.
You talking about at Fort Valley?
At Fort Valley.
Kelvin?
Yeah.
You can always just ask me, Sly.
I forgot I was dealing with a professional.
Come on.
I forgot. See, y'all don't understand. She's an Eagles fan, so I don't expect much from Philadelphia Eagles fans. But
does that have to do with what we talk about? Y'all love bringing up my team.
But back to the point. But when he walked on campus, Kelvin was like, I think, third on the depth chart or something like that. He wasn't a factor in there. But then whatever happened with Coach Gibbs, the kid became a player his freshman year. I don't know what Coach Gibbs said to him or what Coach Gibbs talked to him or how he taught him, but he made him a player. He made him a player of the year in the SIAC. So that means the man can coach, in my book.
And develop.
He can develop players.
Let me ask you this. We're talking about the fight that happened between North Carolina A&T and FAMU, and you said that's one of the big reasons why the alumni don't want Shawn Gibbs. And I have seen a lot of people on Twitter bringing up that video when they're trying to diminish Shawn Gibbs. Do you think it's also because he's not a FAMU guy?
Willie Simmons ain't a FAMU guy. See, this is what people want to forget. This is what winning makes you forget. Willie Simmons is a Clemson guy. He's a Clemson guy. He went to Clemson, played at Clemson. Then his senior year, he left and went to FAM. Didn't play at FAM. He went somewhere else and played, but he came back to FAM and coached at FAM after being an assistant coach like Coach Gibbs, earning his stripes, earning his way, and making FAM a winner. And all Willie Simmons did was win. All Shotgun did was win. Shotgun won. Shotgun won in the MEAC and the SWAC, you know? And to me, he just showed that the MEAC is a better conference than the SWAC because he dominated. He won in the MEAC and made it so simple. Hey, we're going to bring the best MEAC team over to the SWAC and we're going to win again.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looked like. But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother way for me to get somebody upset in the SWAC.
Now you got me upset talking about my team.
Yeah, no, I won't be able to go to Louisiana or Mississippi or
another state you got to put on your.
I got to stop right there at Alabama. Yeah, Alabama State don't care. Alabama A&M, they worried about beating Miles and Tuskegee, so I know they don't really worried about football. But anyway, my point being, they say he's not a FAM guy, but Coach Simmons wasn't a FAM guy. So, and you go and look at FAMU's history, and I forget the brother's name who was on yesterday, but
Vaughn.
Vaughn. And he was saying that I think FAM only had 3 coaches in their history who were FAM guys. And if I'm wrong, I apologize for being wrong. But one thing you can say about FAM has a history of making good choices when it comes to hiring head coaches. And not only head coaches in football, head coaches in every sport. Baseball team, they win the championship every other year. You know, I mean, FAM does a good job of hiring coaches, of going out and hiring the right coach. So I think Tiffany Sykes, hopefully I said her name wrong. Hopefully I said her name right. I'm sorry. Hopefully I said her name right. I think she's getting a bad deal on this one. I think she's getting a bad deal on this one. I think, she saw a candidate who had a good resume, a really good resume, and said, this guy should be somebody we consider. I don't see how you change that into a vote of 18-3 of no confidence for her. I'm like, jeez.
I feel like through all of this, like the way Tiffany Sykes' name and now Shawn Gibbs' name has been dragged through the mud throughout this process, it's been hard to watch.
They not allowed on them, 7 hills or the highest of the hills or whatever they got there. Boy, Gibbs better stay in the valley. He can't come on no hill.
It's been wild. But it's good to see, these SIAC, these Division II coaches, getting these looks. And another guy out of the SIAC that people actually want at FAMU is Quinn Gray, current head coach at Albany State University. Just in his first season, had the team in the SIAC championship. Now, he is a FAMU guy, so they like that. Could you see Quinn Gray moving on for Albany after just 1 year?
Not after 1 year. Not after, and I think Coach Gray's a really good coach. What he did with Albany State, kind of turning them around toward the end of the year. I know he started off a little rocky, but to get them in that championship game to go against Benedict, I think he did a really good job. I don't think he did a greater job as Coach Gibbs did, but he beat Coach Gibbs. Did they beat Fort Valley? They beat Fort Valley at the end of the year. That's how they got into the championship, I think. Don't quote me on it. I could be wrong. I'm good looking. I don't mean I'm right all the time. So, but I can see how sometimes people want to lead with their heart. If he is a FAMU guy, I can see why FAMU alumni would like him to come and play. Come and coach. Come back home and coach. But sometimes you don't always need to go home.
Right.
You might need to get somebody from outside your house.
Right. You got to think with your head, sometimes not with your heart.
Not with your heart. Think with your head, not with your heart.
Now, one team who swiftly got their coach's search.
Didn't waste no time.
They got the top guy. I know they are happy right now. Bulldog Nation.
Hey, Orangeburg, they're really happy over there in Orangeburg.
They are happy in Orangeburg. Coach Chennis Berry is happy in Orangeburg. Did you hear his introductory press conference? He was up there barking.
Hey, look here. I heard his press conference, and I didn't even have my TV on or my internet on or nothing. I just heard him speaking all the way in Atlanta. That's how loud Coach Berry was in that press conference. For those who don't know Coach Berry, if you don't know Coach Berry, you never heard Coach Berry, I dare you, I challenge you to sit down and listen to him and try to stay seated. It's hard to stay seated listening to this guy talk. Coach Berry might be teaching you how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you might get excited about making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich just the way he's going to explain making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's how great of a motivator this guy is, and what he's moving up now. He's moving up. Benedict, one of the reasons he was so dominant at Benedict because he had better talent. Let's just be honest. He had a lot of talent at Benedict. Now when you move up a level, that talent kind of comes back. You know, that talent level's even. So now you got to coach some. And he's been a 20-year assistant coach. He's been all around coach, an offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, assistant coach. He knows how to coach. So now we're going to figure out, can he use those motivation skills to bring in some big-time recruits? Now, we got the new hires on staff. Now, I like what he did with his coaching staff. He brought in his defensive coordinator, Coach Daffer. He's coming in. Coach Howard, he's bringing him in. Nashawn Goddard, offensive line coach at State. He kept Goddard. Goddard's a good coach. He's a good offensive line coach. Coach Blanchard. Coach Blanchard's been at State for 82 years, so he knows his way around campus. He's going to be in charge. I think it's alumni relations and something else. But Coach Blanchard, I like the way his staff is working out. Coach Howard, another one over there. Gary Howard. He's another guy that they're bringing in. I like what he's doing with the coaching staff. But here's something he did, and this is something that a lot of people in South Carolina and in the little Facebook groups and stuff.
Because you be in the Facebook groups.
I be in the groups. I'm always in all the sport chat talk groups and HBCU groups. I'm in there, and I'm talking all type of trash. Instigating a little bit. But this wasn't even an HBCU group. This was a high school sports group in South Carolina. They were upset because Coach Berry, a couple of days, maybe a week before the early signing day, he pulled all the scholarships. All the scholarships that were offered by the previous coaching staff, he says, hey, we're going to reevaluate. None of those scholarships are valid. We're going to reevaluate. Now, parents are mad. Some parents are mad. Some people who don't have kids, they're mad. But this is a business. This is a business. He has to make business. If I'm starting a restaurant or I'm doing any type of business, when I come in and I start my business, I want to have my people in there. I'm not going to hire you because the outgoing staff thought that you were good. They're not coming back for a reason. You know, hey, I don't know if I can trust their word. I need to trust my eyes. Yeah. I need to see who I'm going to get. And all of those kids who had their scholarships pulled, this is going to sound cruel. But if you're good enough to get it the first time, you should be able to get another one somewhere else. If you're good enough to get that offer, somebody else should give you another offer. High school kids are in a really, really bad situation right now, and a lot of them are worried because that transfer portal is moving and grooving. It's moving real hard right now, and so they're worried about getting a scholarship. But the thing is, the scholarships are still there, and this is what people don't want to realize. They say, oh, well, they're getting these transfers. These transfers are transferring from somewhere.
Right.
So once they leave University A to go to University B, it's a spot open at University A.
Yeah.
You know, it's still a spot open over there. So you might not. So what happens, you may have been a Power 5 kid 10 years ago.
Right.
Now that the transfer portal's coming out there, you're no longer a Power 5 kid. you're maybe a mid-major kid now. And that's where our feelings are getting hurt because everybody believes it's D1 or bust.
Right.
Man, you got Division I, Division II, Division 1AA, Division 3, NAIA, and you got something else, NACCA. People don't even know what that is. JUCO. It's a lot of places you can go and play college ball. But everybody has this mentality that it is Division I or bust, and that's not the case. So if you're upset, you're mad at Coach Berry because you don't have that scholarship offer.
I feel like that's pretty common. I feel like when a new coaching staff comes in, they want to bring in their guys. Like it's unfortunate for those, athletes that were there, but I feel like that's what happens. Like
life ain't fair.
Yeah, and I feel like Buddy Pugh, the writing was on the wall like that Buddy Pugh was going to be retiring. So you should have been on them transfer boards. You know what I mean?
and this is my thing. And hopefully high school coaches can take this as a learning lesson now. If I'm a high school coach and I know that a coach is about to leave his job, a coach is about to retire, if I have a guy that coach is recruiting, I would tell that kid, hey, slow down before you commit to that school. Don't commit to that school because a new coach is coming in. And even if that coach is somebody off the staff, he might not have liked you anyway. Right. So don't commit to that school until we find out what coach is in place. Like you have a couple of places, they have job openings now. I would slow down on committing to those places till you find out who's coming in, who's going to be the coach.
Child, the drama. But
drama.
Coach Berry brought in, obviously, he brought in his guys. He brought in a bunch of guys from Benedict, player-wise. What do you think the expectation is for this first season at South Carolina State? Because he built a powerhouse at Benedict in what seemed like a short amount of time.
3 years.
Yes.
3 years. Here's the $1 million question. The guys that he brought in, can they really play on the next level? One kid he brought in a bunch. And I'm just going to name a couple.
All I see when I'm scrolling is blessed to be going. And it got a little Benedict transfer, South Carolina State.
He brought in Jaden Broughton, defensive end. I think this kid can go to South Carolina State and start next year. I think he'll be the starting defensive end at South Carolina State next year. He is about 6'2", 6'1", maybe 6'2" on his best day. He's an edge rusher. I think he can go to state and start. He brought in a kid I like, Caden High. Caden High is an undersized receiver, but Caden High is the type of kid you put the ball in his hand, he's gonna make something magical happen. He's gonna make a couple of people miss, and he'll make something happen. He brought in another kid, Barker.
He brought Josh?
I think Barker committed. Earlier this week, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did. Barker is a guy, really, really strong kid. I think he's gonna sit on the bench a year. He's gonna sit on the bench a year because he is so strong, but I don't know if his technique is there yet. Because when you're undersized playing on that level, everybody's strong. So you have to have better technique than the next guy. But if he works with some defensive tackle coaches, some of these trainers or whatever who can put him in the right position and teach him technique. If he learns how to play that 3 technique, he learns how to play that 2. I think he's too small just to play a head-up nose. But if he learns how to play in the gap, that A gap as a defensive tackle, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem for quarterbacks, especially on passing downs, for a couple of years to come. I don't think he'll start next year. Like I think High will get a lot of playing time next year, and I think Broughton will start. But he brought in Duhart too, the running back. I think he came in. I don't know. Well, South Carolina State did lose all-conference running back, their freshman running back. He got in the transfer portal. So maybe Duhart will play a little bit. I don't know. But from what I can tell, and I don't know personally, but from what I can tell, he's hitting that transfer portal hard. He's looking for some people. Benedict's gonna be hurt. Benedict's hurting.
Before we get into Benedict hurting, we gonna talk about it. When we talk about Chennis Berry recruiting, I actually got to talk to one of his recruits. I think you saw it, Kazarius Adams.
Yeah, another kid, young kid from Gray Collegiate in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Georgia. He went to Georgia State. Now, this will be interesting. This will be interesting about this kid. One of the most talented running backs that a lot of people have seen the past couple of years in the state of South Carolina when he was in high school. Fast, shifty, all of those good things, but he's about 5'3". Mm-hmm. He's about 5'3", a little short guy. I mean, he's a little short guy. I mean, size matters. Hey, let's be honest. Size matters. But from what I hear about the kid, he's an outstanding young man. Everything. Stacey Huff, a good friend of mine, Stacey Huff, announcer in Columbia, announcer extraordinary, man around alpha. Hey, happy birthday too, Stacey. Today's Stacey's birthday. But anyway, that's my adult ADD jumping off, going to other places. But he says the kid's a great kid. But young man went to Georgia State. Couldn't sniff the field. Couldn't
even sniff it?
Couldn't sniff the field. I mean,
but from the sideline?
He might have got a couple of whiffs from the sideline. And now he'll go to South Carolina State. Honestly, that's where I thought he should have went out of high school. I thought that out of high school, he was a 1AA player. That's what I thought he was. Now, once again, people say, oh, no, he should have went to University of South Carolina. No, he shouldn't have went to University of South Carolina. He shouldn't have went to Clemson. No.
Because of the size.
Because of the size. Yeah. Because of the size. Now, am I not saying he may go to state next year and break every rushing record at state? He has the ability to do it. He does. Still 5'3".
You dead wrong.
I'm dead wrong.
How you going to set all that up in this? Still 5'3".
But he's
dead wrong,
he's a good running back. He's a very good running back. He's still 5'3".
Now, my point in all of this was not to talk about this man's height. I was talking about Chennis Berry's recruiting abilities, because he said he got a one call with Coach Berry, and how instantly he felt a connection with Coach. And he was saying Coach was talking about Jesus and the Lord and God. And we know how big that is with some members of our community. So I was talking about his Chennis Berry's recruiting abilities with his gusto,
Hey, man, if you are ever in the presence of Coach Berry, it will be hard for people to tell Coach Berry no, because he has that energy, that aura, that presence.
He's like a salesman. He makes you believe in something.
He makes you believe in yourself.
Right. He need to do motivational speeches, honestly.
He does.
Like them podcasts that's like, get up out the bed.
I'm telling
Make
you.
today your best day.
I don't know what he's getting paid at state, but he can make $1 million a year motivating people. He go put one of those little headphones on and walk around the audience and talking to people. Yeah, man. Hey. But that's who he is. So the fact that he could talk to KZ and get him to commit, I get it. I
want to see what other recruits he can get in, because we've seen, of course, Benedict. He's recruited those guys in the past. He didn't have to recruit them to bring them to South Carolina State. I want to see what kind of other recruits he can bring in.
It'll be very interesting to see who he gets. And the only thing I'm worried about, I'm hoping that he didn't burn any bridges in the state of South Carolina when he took away those scholarships, when he pulled those scholarships. I'm hoping he didn't, because people are sensitive. We live in a sensitive
But doesn't
world.
every coach do that?
Every coach does it, and everybody understands it till it happens to somebody they know. When it happens to somebody you know, then you have a problem. Then everybody has a problem. So what I'm hoping that no one holds that against him. I'm hoping no one holds it against him. So
time will tell.
Time will tell.
Now, with the big fish, Chennis Berry and his big fish crew of players leaving Benedict, a whole lot of teams are celebrating in the SIAC.
Yes.
Because the past 2 seasons, it was just basically Benedict, who want to go up against us in the championship?
Exactly.
Who want the smoke?
Who want this beating?
Right. Who want the smoke? But now, the SIAC it's leveled out. It's even out. It's not Benedict heavy, you know?
Nope.
What team do you think is going to benefit the most from a potential, because I'm not going to count Benedict out completely, a potential Benedict downfall?
This is the Slider Sports Guy way too early SIAC prediction right here. My prediction is, my way too early prediction, my prediction is Clark Atlanta University will play Edward Waters University in the SIAC championship. I said it.
Clark Atlanta.
I said it.
The Panthers behind you.
The Panthers right there. It was somebody from Edward Waters, Dr. Faison, president. That's Dr. Faison. Send some gear up here.
Yeah.
Send some
if
gear.
anybody's watching, we need more gear, period.
Send some gear. We need some Edward Waters stuff back here. Talk to the AME Church.
We need some Allen. Who else do we have? Everybody. We need some Fort Valley.
Fort Valley.
Shawn Gibbs.
You ain't going nowhere, Gibbs.
Up that resume.
Gibbs, you're going to be there for a while. Send some more stuff.
Send a little jersey or something.
There you go.
Because if you don't see your school back here, actually coach.
There you go. But my way too early prediction, and this is why I say with these my way too early prediction, because we still don't know how that transfer situation is going to look, because the landscape changes so quickly. It moves so fastly because of transfers and who you're going to get in. You know, that roster flips, so we don't really know the roster. But you have to believe in the coaches. You have to believe in the systems that are in place. Now, I believe in Coach Keaton. I believe in Coach Keaton at Clark Atlanta, and I've been telling people for years that Clark Atlanta is a sleeping giant. You are in Atlanta, Georgia. You're in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta. You're in Atlanta, Georgia. And you're recruiting 18 to 22 to 23-year-old boys. They're about half a mile away from the most magical place on earth. The most magical city on earth. They're about a mile. They're not that far from it. That's an easy sell when you're 18, 19 years old. It's a lot. Atlanta is now the new Hollywood. Atlanta is an easy place to recruit. Well, it's not an easy place to recruit. I mean, it's so much talent in the metro Atlanta area when it comes to football players. And then for the kids outside of the metro Atlanta area from all over the world, they say, hey, this is Atlanta. I would love to come to Atlanta. Love to come to Atlanta. So I think Coach Keaton can get in some players. He can get some studs in, and then the man knows how to coach.
Right.
He knows offense. He knows how to move the ball around the field. You saw what he did at Allen. At Allen, he had 7 scholarships. You know, he had 7 scholarships and didn't even have a practice field until last year. The man didn't even have a field goal post on the schoolyard lot that he played, the elementary school lot that they practice in. He didn't even have a field goal post. His first 4 years, they didn't kick a field goal. Not because they didn't have a kicker, they didn't have a place for him to practice. So now you're taking this expertise,
right?
You're bringing that to Atlanta. Clark is gonna be something special. I'm putting pressure on you out there, Keith. I'm putting pressure on you. Don't make me look bad. Now, go down to Jacksonville. Jacksonville ain't Atlanta. Duval might think it's a cool place to be. Jacksonville. Edward Waters has everything in place. They got a quarterback. They got a running back. I don't know if those big receivers are going to stay. I'm not sure about receivers. And this is the ever-changing system of football. I don't know who's staying, who's going. But the thing is, those guys are winners. I keep saying Jacksonville. Edward Waters came on so strong. That first part of the year, they didn't have all the kids through the clearinghouse, and they weren't eligible to play those first 2 games. They held Benedict. I think they were tied with Benedict going into the half, or maybe down by a score going into the half. We were there. We called that game.
Yeah, they made that a game.
Yeah, we called that game.
One of the few teams.
And they can play. Once they got all their kids together, oh, man, they can play.
Now,
Coach Morgan down there.
Yeah, Coach Morgan don't look like he play. He don't look like he play around.
Coach Morgan looks like he knows something about football.
Right.
He know a little bit about football.
Coach Morgan was actually at the Pigskin coaching one of the teams, so it was good to see him down there.
We won't talk about the Pigskin Football Classic, but it's good. I always love football. Whenever we can play football, I always love to see people playing football. So shout out to those guys.
Now, we know Coach Keaton can coach. We know he can turn a program around. We know he can lead a record-breaking offense. Mm-hmm. But you think he can do that in one offseason at Clark and have them in the championship game?
Yeah, and this is why I say that. If you can pull up their schedule real quick for me. The reason I say that is
Clark's schedule?
Yeah, Clark's schedule.
Do they have it out?
Yeah, I think because I know a big announcement was they were playing Bethune-Cookman. They're playing BC. I forgot who else they were playing in the non-conference schedule. But anyway, it depends on who he brings in. And maybe he'll do something similar to Coach Berry, try to bring in some of his guys he had at Allen. I don't know how to recruit, and I don't know all the rules of recruiting and how all that works. But if he brings in some of his guys, some people who are familiar with his offense, familiar with his program, he got a quarterback that got 2 years eligibility. He can bring that guy in.
If he brought David Wright to Atlanta,
there you go.
It's gonna be scary.
It'll be
scary. These other teams. But you have other teams. I'm just keeping it interesting. I'm not denying what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I agree 1,000%. The only question is how fast can Teddy Keaton turn that program around? Especially when you have teams like Albany State, that's right there.
Yeah.
When you have teams like Fort Valley, that's right there. You still think Clark is going to jump them in one offseason?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Hot take.
Albany State, I do like what Coach Gray does. But I'm not a believer in Albany State. Albany. I'm not sure.
I think it's Albany.
You got to ask one of those people from down there.
They'll let us know in the comments.
They'll let us know.
Who do y'all have up here who don't even know how to pronounce our name?
I'm not a believer that they're gonna that they can beat the offense that Clark's gonna put out there. I think he's gonna keep up that passing. He's gonna keep moving the ball around, and then the fact that you have Coach L.C. Cole. Coach Cole out here, one of the great coaches, coach at Tennessee State, won the OVC twice, beat me. He beat me, so I know he can coach. So you have him running that defense. And what happens, you have a great offensive coach who throws the ball around. That's excitement. That you can attract big-time receivers. If I know my quarterback's going to throw the ball 30 times a game. If I'm a receiver, I can say, well, this might be a place I want to come.
Right.
If I'm a running back, the quarterback's throwing it 30 times a game. I know he's going to run the ball. The running backs are going to get 15 carries apiece because they're speed. They're moving. So if I'm an offensive player, I want to go there. I want to go there. So the challenge is getting some defensive guys. That's the challenge.
Right, because at the end of the day, you got to get some stops.
They say defense win championships, offense sell tickets.
And it's going to be exciting, this new era of Clark Atlanta football. Like, if we have some good football in Atlanta.
I'll tell you, it's been a long time since.
I've never seen it.
I hadn't seen it. I said, yeah, I don't know, Morris Brown maybe. Morris Brown wasn't that good. I guess when they ended, I don't know when the last time it's been some good football in Atlanta.
And Coach Keaton came in his introductory press conference, and he said he was making a lot of declarations. He was saying, I'm a winner. I win, period.
Yeah,
I'm going to come here. I'm going to win. He said, if Coach Keaton can't win, nobody can. He said it with his chest.
I believe
And he came out what's the little thing you call, like, that they stand in front of? You know, when you.
The podium?
Yeah. He came outside the podium to say that.
I believe him. He ain't that tall. The podium probably blocking him.
He 5'3".
Keaton 5'4". That's all. Keaton 5'4". But I believe in him. I believe.
I mean, we don't have to, like, we've seen it. It's proven. It's
proven.
He doesn't have to make somebody like buy in. He has the resume. He's done it.
He's done it
at one of the most toughest places.
If you can win at Allen University, God likes you. You might not even be a good coach. God likes you if you can win.
You one of God's favorites.
You one of God's favorites.
Well, a team that's not one of his favorites lately. Morehouse. Because we're talking all about Clark popping all this. You know, they big popping. It's their rival. They haven't been making any moves. No coach right now. As of January 11th, there is no head coach at Morehouse. Morehouse hasn't had a head coach since what? October?
Yeah, that is. Well,
their last game was November.
Last game was November 4th.
They haven't had a coach since November. November, December, almost 3 months.
And I don't think it's one on the horizon.
It's like bales of hay, like just twirling through that football field, right? And they got a nice field, brand new.
The field?
The video board?
The field. Okay, let's get something. Morehouse Field is nice. Their stadium is old.
I said field, Sly.
Okay, the field is nice.
I said field.
The field is nice.
I didn't say nothing about the stadium.
The reason the field is nice because it's there for track. It's the Edwin Moses track. That's why the field is nice, because that track is awesome. That track is where you want to be. You know, they can't have the track team looking bad. Football team, yeah, not so much. But you heard the rumblings about some of the coaches that they've had on campus. They said they had a Hugh Jackson sighting on campus.
Ed Reed wanted to.
Come on, let's start with this Ed Reed stuff. Let's start with it. I think Ed Reed is the second greatest safety to ever play football. I said it.
And then who's the number one?
Me personally, I'm a Washington Redskins fan. So Sean Taylor.
You mean Commanders?
No, I said Redskins fan.
See, that's what's wrong with that organization right now.
I said Redskins. I think
and I
Sean
know you
Taylor,
weren't talking about the Eagles when we swept y'all in our worst state.
Look here, man. We're getting ready for next year. But we're not talking about professional ball.
And we weren't talking about it when you brought up
college ball. But I think Ed Reed is the second greatest safety to ever play football. That don't make him a good coach. That don't make him ready to coach college football.
Right.
I don't think he's ready to coach college football. I do believe in earning your way into coaching. It's rare that you have someone walk off the street and coach.
No, come on now. No. Not walk off the street. You say he's second best safety, so come on. I feel like someone walking off the street is like me.
He retired.
You know what I'm saying?
He's retired.
But I feel like walking off the street means you have absolutely no credentials. Like,
you have the same credentials he has. The same credentials he has as a coach. As a coach.
Now, I'm not saying Ed Reed deserves a job, but you don't think that playing experience on the highest level
That's great.
You don't think it gives you any
That's
more
great.
credibility as a coach?
It gives you, if you have coached, and you were the second greatest free safety to ever play, then go ahead and put his name at the top of the list. See, here's the thing, and let's speak of the man that we can't speak of, the one we can't say his name, Coach Prime.
Say his name.
You can't,
it's like Mufasa.
You can't say his name. But here's the thing about Deion, Coach Prime. I'm sorry, give this man his proper respect. Coach Prime. Here's the thing about him. He was a coach.
Right.
He coached Little League. He coached high school.
Right.
You know, he has coached. He has some coaching experience. Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, they don't have coaching experience. So you want them to run a program, and we were talking about Morehouse. They can't go to Morehouse. If Ed Reed went crazy for what they had at Bethune-Cookman, where does he see what they have at Morehouse? Where do you see all the money that Morehouse has and chosen not to put it into the football program? Man.
Do you believe? Now,
I'm going to tell you who the best candidate for the Morehouse job is. Go ahead.
Okay, hold on. I was going to say, I don't think that Ed Reed should jump right into collegiate coaching. Mm-hmm. But I don't think naming him somebody off the street is fair, though.
That's harsh. That may be harsh. He's not somebody off the street. That's harsh.
You can't call him the second best safety of all time and also say...
Second best safety of all time?
So who's number 3?
I don't know. Ronnie Lott, Troy Polamalu. It's a lot of good safeties out there. A lot of. But for me, Ed Reed is above all of them. Mm-hmm. He's above all of them. And Sean Taylor just has a special place.
Yeah, Sean Taylor.
And I'm going to be honest, Ed Reed is probably the greatest safety of all time, but Sean Taylor just has that special place for me. That's why he's the greatest. But Ed Reed is probably the greatest safety to ever play.
And you going to call this man somebody off the street?
He just walked off the street and coaching, as far as coaching circles.
All right. Who do you think is the best candidate for Morehouse?
And I'm afraid to say his name because I've talked so much trash about Morehouse.
Say his name.
But here's the thing. Morehouse just went with an alumni to coach. That did not work out for Morehouse. So I think they may shy away from alumni. But it's a guy named Coach Thomas Howard. Coach Thomas Howard played at Morehouse, and I want to say he played probably the early 2000s. He's a young guy. So he probably played the early 2000s. He was the defensive coordinator at South Carolina State. He was I'm not sure if he's the D coordinator or assistant defensive coordinator at A&T under Coach Washington. He's been around the block. He's coached HBCU.
He ain't off the street.
He ain't off the street. He has a resume. He's a young guy. He's Morehouse man. He's from Atlanta.
From Atlanta?
Well, he's from Clayton. Now,
That is not Atlanta.
It's a difference. It's a difference. He's from Clayton County, but he is a recruiter also. And here's the thing about college football. It's not necessarily about the X's and O's. It's about the Bobbies and Joes. So it's about who you can get to come into your school. You know, so he's a great recruiter, but he's also a really, really good coach. So, and he knows Morehouse because he went there. He understands what it takes to be a coach at Morehouse. He understands what it takes to play at Morehouse. He would get my vote. I don't know how Coach Ellis is running the search. I'm not sure how that works, but he would get my vote. They said they had Hugh Jackson on campus.
Did anybody verify that?
You know, I got people.
Oh.
I got people.
I thought you were talking about just the Twitter street.
No, he was on campus. Now, I don't know. Maybe he caught a flat or something.
He could have been visiting a nephew.
He could have been visiting. I don't know what. He might have a nephew there. I don't know, but he was there.
Now, let me ask you this. Sly, since I got you all warmed up.
Oh, I'm here. Yeah.
We had Vaughn Wilson on here. Shout out to Vaughn. You know.
Shout out to you, Vaughn.
Vaughn was on here talking about some programs that don't need to have programs.
Ooh, yes, sir.
And you just said something about Morehouse not wanting to invest in their football program, not wanting to invest in their athletics. Do you think there are programs that need to there's schools that just need to scrap athletics if they're not going to invest.
Yes. Yes. There are some schools that they aren't making the investment into the program. If you aren't putting money, you aren't trying to get your school into the digital age, every school should have their every game streamed. And I'm a football guy, so I talk about football. But let's talk about the stuff people don't care about. Let's talk about the tennis team. Let's talk about the golf team. Let's talk about soccer. Everything you do as a sports program, it should be streamed. You have a college. You got a bunch of kids on college. Somebody can get a work study and hold the camera and move it to left or right. You can teach people how to stream stuff. You need to invest into your program. Now, once you stream stuff, now you have a light. Now you have people who can accidentally look at your school. Football brings students. Say what you like. Yeah, you go to college to get an education. Okay, yeah, that's great. That's great. But I've never seen 80,000 people in the stadium to watch a history professor teach. I ain't never seen it. You might have seen it. I ain't seen it. But I've seen full stadiums to watch people go out and play football. So if you want to bring money to your school, you want your school to get more kids in, because that's what the enrollment drives up. The enrollment drives up the money you got coming into school.
Right.
The more kids you have, the more kids are going to graduate. Now you have an alumni. Now you have more people who can give back.
And then you have not even people who go to the school, but you gain just a fan base. People in Atlanta, that's popping over there. Mm-hmm. Let me go to that game.
This is the place I want to be.
They be lit over there. Let me go. You have so many people that didn't go to these schools, but ride for them, ride for the football team.
Exactly. And if you aren't willing to make because a lot of people think, hey, we're going to restart this football program. We're going to restart this football program, and now we're just going to put it here, and we'll see what happens. Bluefield State just fired their coach. I don't know anything about Bluefield State. I know it's in West Virginia. I know I called the football game in their stadium. They said they have a really historic stadium, I might add. They share with Bluefield University, Bluefield State, somebody else, and 2 high schools share that stadium. Real historic stadium built in the side of a mountain. But that's neither here nor there.
Wow.
That's neither here nor there. But they fired their coach after restarting the football program, after restarting the football program for 3 years. They didn't win. How much money you put into the program?
Right.
How much money? If you want to win, put some money into the program. Certain schools, and I'm gonna use this as Barton College. They're in North Carolina. They're outside of Raleigh. They restarted their football program 4 years ago or 5 years ago, or they started their football program 5 years ago. They built the stadium before they started playing. They said, we're going to invest into this football program. Because we're going to invest in this football, I'm going to show you, because we're building a stadium. Their enrollment increased. Their football team isn't really that good. They're decent. They're winning records. They're winning record. They're on their way. They're building their way up. But now their enrollment increased because they started winning.
Right.
Wow, look how that happens.
Winning solves a lot of things.
Winning solves a lot of problems.
Let's put a little bow on this.
Put a bow.
We're talking about Morehouse. Morehouse's full schedule didn't come out for 2024. Neither did Clark. Clark's full schedule didn't come out, but we know they're playing Bethune-Cookman because Bethune's schedule came out. Now, we know one of Morehouse's opponents for 2024, they are going to revisit the matchup against Howard University. Howard, the defending SIAC champions, represented in the Celebration Bowl. That's going to be played in New York at the Giants / New York Jets Stadium.
It's the Jet Stadium.
MetLife?
Well, it's the New York Jet Stadium.
I thought they shared one.
I don't mention the Giants. Giants get no love around here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know what I just went through with them, so I'm with you on that. The game will be played at MetLife Stadium. You have some strong opinions on this matchup, Sly?
Waste of time. It is a bad football move It's a bad football move. Now,
explain.
I understand why it's done. You got alumni. Howard, a lot of New Yorkers go to Howard. A lot of people from New York come to Howard. Morehouse is a worldwide brand. It's a worldwide brand. So to have those two teams playing in New York as two entities, as two schools, it is great on paper. Now your alumni can say, hey, we played in an NFL stadium. But as a football game, it's a terrible idea. As a football game, you got a garbage D2 team playing a pretty good 1AA school. I'm sorry, FCS. I'm old. I say 1AA still. I'm sorry. Excuse me. It doesn't make much sense football-wise because Morehouse is going to get beat by 30. They're going to get beat by 30.
Just 30?
Well, Howard's probably going to pull some starters, third quarter. So they'll get beat by 30. Last time they played, I think Morehouse did beat them. I mean, Howard did win by 30 or 31, something like that. As a football move, it's not a good football game. And it doesn't help anyone. And the reason I say that, let's say Howard has a good season, but they end up not winning the MEAC. But they still have a good enough season to make it to the playoffs. Let's just say they have a good enough season to make it to the playoffs. But if it's coming down to a Howard or a Delaware for that final playoff spot, or I don't know, I just said Delaware, but come down to somebody else, and they look on that schedule and they see Howard beat up on a 1-9 Morehouse, and this other school played another Division 1AA or FCS school or FCS school, who would they choose? They would choose the other school. They wouldn't choose Howard, Mm-hmm. And then Morehouse, how does it help Morehouse? Let's say by some stroke of God, some magical happening somewhere, Morehouse managed to make it to the SIAC championship game, and they just lost, couldn't make it to the playoffs, but they're on the edge of making it to the playoffs. They're on the edge of making. You're talking
about the D2 playoffs.
The D2 players. They're on the edge of making it to the D2 playoffs, but they have a 8-3 record. They got an 8-3 record. One of those losses is a 40 ball to Howard. Voters don't know. I mean, voters know that, Howard's a 1AA school, but if they got some other Valdosta State is 9-2, who do you think is going to get that nod? Whereas if Morehouse would have played another Division II school, they would have played a Division II school and beat that Division II school. Now Morehouse is 9-2. You see what I'm saying? Now they got a shot of maybe making that playoff. Some people say, I don't want to go to the playoffs. I don't, that's a debate. We'll go on that. We'll go on that one for years about, playoffs versus not playoffs. But I think Division II, we'll see how this Florida Bowl, I hope this Florida Bowl becomes bigger than what it is. I hope the Florida Bowl becomes the Pioneer Bowl. I hope you get that CIAA school champion versus the SIAC champion. That's what I want to see from the Florida Bowl, but you got to get that money right now. Right. That payout got to change, like the Celebration Bowl did, because I understand why the MEAC and the SWAC would rather go to the Celebration Bowl than the playoffs. I get it. I saw the graphic. It was 18,000 people at the FCL championship, 40,000 people at the Celebration Bowl, and it was a bad year. It was a down year.
Right.
So I get that. But it doesn't help either team playing each other. And then if you're a Division II team like Morehouse, you're going to play that Division I school, and you're probably going to get a couple of players hurt. You're probably going to get some players hurt. Now, here's the thing, Symone. You got a bunch of people probably in the comments talking about, hey, Division II teams can beat Division I teams. Central State beat, who did they beat last year? They beat,
it wasn't Central State. It was Not Tuskegee. What's the other school?
It was Central State did when Miles beat Alabama State.
Mm-hmm.
Miles beat Alabama State. It happens.
Right.
Division II schools do beat Division I schools. It happens. But does it really help a Morehouse? Morehouse ain't beating nobody. Morehouse, I give them even odds against Spelman right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll give them even odds against Spelman. So Morehouse don't need to go.
And then especially too, we haven't seen Morehouse's full schedule, but last year Morehouse was playing all these classic games. They only ended up having 2 home games, and their former head coach Gerard Wiltshire was saying what a strain that was on his players, having to travel, not having the full week of practice because you have all those travel days, not building that continuity with the team. So, and then the stress on their bodies from traveling and all of that. So that, when you're a program that's trying to rebuild like Morehouse is, having all those road games and those classic games and these big stadiums and going on the road and playing those classics, it looked fun for the alumni.
Yeah, the alumni got the party.
Yeah, but for the actual athletic program, it's not helping them.
Not at all. Not at all. And I felt really bad for those Morehouse football players. I did. They had 2 home games, and they played all those games on the road. You understand, you got a bunch of big guys. You got guys 6'5", 300 pounds. Let me cram you onto this plane, fly you up here, let me put you on this long bus. When normally your worst trip for a Morehouse, now you got to do the Central State and the Central State and the Kentucky State. That was a terrible bus ride. I don't care. That was a terrible trip. I would hate that. I'm glad I'm old and I can fly. Frontier always worked for me. But
Frontier sweet. I'm not too bougie to get on that $40 flight, man.
But yeah, man. But to have those kids on the road that much, and they don't even get to sleep in their own bed. You have to change all your travel plans when you have these classics like that. So that really sucked for Morehouse last year. I thought that was terrible.
Right.
But it is what it is. Man up, Buttercup. Man
You be cutting right to the chase.
Hey, let's be honest. Let's be honest. I'm getting to that stage where I'm too old to lie now. Just be honest with
no sugarcoat it at all.
That's it.
Well, guys, this was our SIAC catch-up, off-season catch-up show. Sly, the sports guy Williams, Symone Stanley. Of course, Sly is always going to keep it real.
Send all complaints to Symone.
No, send all complaints to Sly, @Sly the sports guy on Twitter. But we're going to catch up with you guys another time when, we get some more news, some more updates. It's a lot of stuff that we had to stay tapped into with the rebuild at Clark Atlanta. Could a quarterback from Allen be coming to Atlanta? Stay tuned. Will Morehouse get a coach? Will Shawn Gibbs join FAMU?
I doubt that. I would love, once again, I would love to see him there, but I don't think that's happening.
Well, guys, stay tapped into HBCU Gameday for all the news. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
I only promote love.